Hello and welcome back to World Talks here on TVP World. Now all eyes on Romania after yesterday's election. As anticipated, George Simion, the leader of the far-right Alliance for the Union of Romanians, has emerged as a front-runner in the first round of Romania's presidential election, securing almost 41% of the vote. This rerun sets the stage for a crucial runoff on May 18 against, with most likely, NJicușor Dan, former senator and Bucharest mayor. Together with Andrei Țăranu, professor at Romanian National University of Political Studies and Public Administration, we will now examine what Simeon's lead means for the future of Romania's politics. Good morning, Professor. Thank you for joining.
Good morning. Good morning to you and your listeners.
So, Simeon secured first place, as expected, and confirmed his position as a dominant force in the current political landscape. What factors contributed to his lead?
Probably the main factor, which was the first driving force, which succeeded for him to gain such an amount of sustaining, was the idea to change the political parties in Romania, which are in government in their coalition. Because this coalition, which started in 2021, sounds very much like a cartelized group of parties, cartelization of the parties, and it's quite impossible to make a change because they gain enough votes in December election of the parliamentary election to stay on power. But on the other side, a lot of people are against the Prime Minister of Romania, Mr. Ciolacu, and his party. So from this point of view, we are facing three news, let's say it like that. Because yes, Mr. Simeon was elected as expected to be the front runner, but nobody expected to have such a score, such a big score that it show up today. Second, it's another politician, Mr. Victor Ponta, which was an independent and who succeeded to take 13% of the votes, which is very important. That means 1,200,000 votes for a person which didn't have enough political structures and enough support from other political parties. And his message is quite close to Mr. Simeon. That means if you are looking, the far right-wing party, now we can say that it have around 53-56% of the votes, which is for sure a big issue and a big problem for Romania.
So let me jump in here. So what about the main contender of Simeon in the runoff? He's set to face an independent and pro-European candidate, NJicușor Dan, on May 18th. So what do we know about him, and what's your take on the chances of those two?
NJicușor Dan for sure represents the pro-West forces here in Romania, and he probably gonna be backed by some political parties. The right-wing political parties, the Save Romania Union, as probably the National Liberal Party, and other parties, little other parties. But on the other side, the big problem is how he can negotiate with Mr. Ponta and his voters in order to succeed to win in front of Mr. Simeon. Because he had already a big victory against the coalition. He represents the change in the eyes of a lot of the voters, but on the other side, he represents only a little part of the society. That means big cities like Bucharest, Iași, Timișoara, but doesn't represent the opinion of the countryside, of the little cities. So he have to have a very important campaign in order to succeed to take votes from this part of the country, which is not very clear for Mr. Ņicușor Dan, and who gave its votes to the Social Democratic Party and to Mr. Ponta.
So it's rather a surprise that Ņicușor Dan came second. And yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, it was some rumors that he took the votes from the National Liberal Party, which he did. But on the other side, let's say the surprise is not he won, but the other candidate, Mr. Crin Antonescu, lost, because this is the biggest problem. He was backed by the three major parties of Romania, the National Liberal, the Social Democrat, and the Hungarian Party. So nobody imagined he can lost, because he had all the advantages in terms of financial, in terms of public appearances, and so on. So, but finally, even the difference between them, it's not so important. Ņicușor Dan won in front of Crin Antonescu.
Would you qualify this turnout as a vengeance of the electorate of the formerly somehow sidelined and candidate that was simply the candidate against which the whole mainstream was around was solidar?
Oh, it's very complicated to say on this very moment, because we are still counting the votes. But what we saw that Mr. Simeon succeeded to bring his votes from the first round in November 2024. And after that, took the votes, the entire amount of votes of Mr. Georgescu, which was the challenger in the first election in 2024, and another 400,000 votes, which was took by himself on this round of elections. So on this very moment, this cannot be complaints that mean constitutional complaints or electoral complaints, as it was in November. On the other side, for sure, the problem into the pro-West field, they are very complicated, because are a lot of groups which are pretty much one against each other. I mean, the former leader of the social Save Romania Union, Ms. Lasconi, it's still very hard against Ņicușor Dan, and probably she will said to her voters to stay home and not to vote for
Exactly.
Ņicușor
So
Dan.
now let's talk about the endorsement. Who is going to endorse who? If I'm doing my math correctly, if the votes of Victor Ponta are being added to George Simion, he's going to win in the second round. However, if Crin Antonescu and Ņicușor Dan are added, the stakes are around 40%. So what can happen here? Who can endorse who? And do you think that Ņicușor Dan is able to convince Victor Ponta to endorse him?
Yeah, on this very moment we can say that Victor Ponta became the kingmaker. So he already said on last night, on the very late night, he is going to retake his campaign tomorrow. So still now we don't know who is going to endorse who. If Victor Ponta will gonna endorse Ņicușor Dan, I don't know if he succeeded to also in the same time to bring his voters on the Ņicușor Dan on the side. This is very complicated because it's quite easy to sustain somebody, but it's very complicated just to convince their voters, which are people which are not very close to Ņicușor Dan and pro-West movement. But nobody knows what is going to happen. Which is very clear, it's that Ņicușor Dan needs to bring other voters from the people who doesn't vote yesterday on the first round, and probably to compensate with this kind of new fresh voters, which is going to endorse him. On the other side, we are waiting the endorsement of Călin Georgescu to George Simion, and for sure the main problem is the endorsement of Crin Antonescu to Ņicușor Dan as well, because last night Crin Antonescu doesn't say anything about what is going to happen with these parties, the Social Democrats, the Hungarians, and the National Liberal Party, who is going to sustain Mr. Ņicușor Dan. This is one of the big issues here.
All right. So we were waiting. Very important words of endorsement are going to happen this week, probably. Thank you so much, Andrei Țăranu, professor from Romanian National University of Political Studies and Public Administration. Thank you so much again, and thank you for watching this edition of World Talks. Please stay tuned to TVP World for more features and news coming.